Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate y'all. Um, Kimmy C123 said, the question I have is how can a mother be so oblivious to this abuse? Medicated or not, it just isn't an excuse. I feel like Jen knew. I feel like Jen knew as well. I don't understand. I mean, again, I've talked about how you'd have to be medicated to the point of walking into the daggum walls around you in order to not have known about the abuse that was going on. Gray Moon, thank you again for coming back, said, and who took this picture? Most likely Jen Soto. Why was she documenting this exchange? What was so important about it? Doesn't it look like almost, it looks almost like when you're having a wedding and like, you know, the bride and groom hand cake to each other. I don't know, maybe that's just me seeing, you know, with my conspiracy theories that I have about the situation, but it's just like, I don't know. It's an odd picture, right? And I had deleted my thumbnail because I was, like I said, I've got a video uploading. It's actually uploaded. I've just got to release it and do the thumbnail for it. But yeah, I removed the background. It's like in the picture. So I just had that to grab real quick because I kept the picture so I could use it at a later date if I wanted to in a video or something. But I'm looking at it now on my phone. Oh, it's a wishbone. That's what it is. It's a wishbone. You know how you get the V shape and the chicken bone and then you break it and whoever gets the bigger piece makes a wish. So, I mean, you know, I've done that with the kids and things. We do that. It's I guess it's not that serious, you know, that they took a picture of it. Hey everybody, thank you so much for coming back. You guys are absolutely amazing. Like if I could like give you a tip, I want to give you a tip for dealing with everything we had going on with the tech issues and things. I'm leaving that stream up for right now because Bazard came up. He had some good input. We went over a couple of things that were interesting. Anybody that watches it's going to have the patience of a saint like y'all did for me to watch it. I'll probably go through and try to edit it and see if I can keep it as a live, but I don't know. We'll figure out what to do with that stream in just a minute. I was just waiting, letting some people come in. I appreciate y'all coming back. Janet, Gray Moon, Queen Olive, Mayla's mom, Mayla's mum. Good to see you. Jennifer, good to see you. Drama Llama, I like your name. Drama Llama has been a member for 2 months. They said, hey, y'all. It's good to see you. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. Oh, my goodness. You guys are amazing. Girl said, I noticed Jen slept with clothes on and Stinky liked unaliving sex. It's an interesting point. Well, I mean, it's my responsibility as a creator to have my shit on point. You know what I mean? Hey, Anatolia. Okay, lastly, and then I'll get started. Mayla's mom said, unfortunately, when we learn about these crimes, we want to see evil everywhere, when in reality, there were probably times of normalcy, in my opinion. Great point. Thank you for bringing us a little bit more back down to reality, Mayla's mom. I appreciate that. Anatolia, it's good to see you, love. Hey, Miss King of Anything, I am back too. I'm glad that y'all are making your way in and coming back. I backed this up just a smidgen. We're going to try to play it again. Hopefully it'll work. It appears to be a little clearer than it was. Hey, Sunflower.
Lauren, you know, from the beginning of this case and this investigation, a lot of people have been asking this question. And we haven't heard anything, though, right, from any sort of discovery that's been revealed, any medical reports or anything else that would indicate that Madeline was necessarily pregnant.
Okay, so it's already starting to mess up a little bit, but hopefully we can make it through. Hey, bad girl, good to see you. I missed you too, and Anatolia. I missed you so much. It's been so long since I talked to you last. Feels like ages. So it must be something with the internet here, but hopefully it'll work so we can make it through. Hold on.
No, the only medical information we have about Madeline's death comes from references to the coroner's report within other documents that we've gotten. The coroner's report itself is sealed. In Florida, that is unusual, but it's because this is considered a domestic violence case. So because she is a minor and this is a domestic violence case, that autopsy report is sealed. I would imagine.
I wonder why this is considered domestic violence. Now, I got in trouble one time. My ex was just trying to cause problems for me. He said that, I'm not even going to tell you, it's not even important, but he was basically, I left and I was staying with my sister, and he made up a lie and had the police come to my sister's house. And when they came and they said, hey, he said I damn stuck a knife in the door and wrote a letter stating that I was going to kill him. And I looked at the cop. I remember I was like 19 years old. I said, let me tell you something right now. I said, first of all, if I told that motherfucker I was going to kill him, I would have done it verbally and not left any evidence. I'm not that stupid. I said, I want you to compare my handwriting to his. And he kind of laughed. He was like, honestly, I know you weren't there. I can tell you've been here for a while. My sister was cousins with the sheriff, and that's who I was with. And she was like, no, she's been here for like a week. But because our addresses were the same on my license, I had to go to jail and I had to bond out. And it was considered domestic violence. Because the addresses were the same on my IDs. Now, going back to Madeline, I'm wondering why this is referenced as domestic violence. Is it because the address on Stefan's ID is Madeline's house and they both have the same address? Like, I'm questioning why this case is considered domestic violence. Real quick, Mayla's mom said, please know if I say things about defense attorneys or even the perp that sound positive, it does not mean I'm for the perp. I'm just trying to see things from all sides. Absolutely. We're very open to all sides. Everybody's supposed to be very open to all sides, and I'm open to all sides as well. And thank you for sharing. Gray Moon said you may need to position yourself closer to your Wi-Fi router to maximize signal strength. Yeah, it's in here with me. I usually have to have it in here with me, so hopefully it'll be good. Drama Llama said, I'm betting Marcy law is going to be used in this case, if not already. Extremely common here in Florida, and it's domestic violence because he was considered a family member with authority over Madeline Soto. Thank you for clarifying that. So that makes sense. That's why it's considered domestic violence. Thank you so much, Drama Llama. All right. Hey, Pam. Hey, everybody coming in. Thank y'all for coming back. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because he lived with her.
Is in there that we would find out whether or not she was pregnant. It wouldn't have been far enough along, really, for her to be visible from everything I've been reading through these documents. But if she was, it would be within that document that's still impounded.
Sharonda Brown, let's talk about this 13-year-old girl, Madeline Soto, and her friends notice, okay, she's starting to wear baggy clothes. What does that tell you, if anything, about what was going on in Madeline's life as a new teenager, right? She's just turning 13 at the time.
When teenagers are coming into their bodies, they're going through so many changes in and of themselves. So sometimes there's some shame around different body parts, growing and developing. Sometimes their breast gets bigger, their hips get spread. And then other times, if there is some type of sexual abuse or trauma, they will present to be less attractive. They will try their best to wear baggy clothes so that they won't be as revealing, especially if their perpetrator notices them curving out or growing into their breasts. They may want to do things to look less attractive. So you may see.
Mayla's mom pointed out that if she was with child, we won't know until trial. And that's absolutely true. And I remember when we discussed this, when we were going over the friend's interview where she was talking about wearing baggy clothes, a lot of you in here in our speculating family stated that she might have been wearing baggy clothes to appear less attractive to Stefan. And like the other lady said, even if she was that pregnant, she wouldn't have been showing. So it sounds like they're basically saying the same things that we have said. So again, y'all are all very intelligent and intellectual people, and I appreciate all of you and your input. And I'm glad to hear that on a national, show like this on Vinnie Politan Investigates, they're saying the same things that we had already said. Roxanne said, I heard somewhere a while ago that she was not pregnant and that she had only just started cycles and had only had 2 periods. So I know that the friend said that they were on the same cycle and that she was 2 weeks late, but then she started. That's the only thing I can go to as far as whether she was pregnant or not. And if the friend asked later, hey, did you ever end up starting your cycle? And even if she hadn't, if she was scared, maybe said, yeah, she might have said, yeah, and really she hadn't. Again, it's something we won't know until trial. There's no way to know whether she was or she wasn't. So that's where I'm at with it. I personally, considering that the friend said she started, but it was late, even though Maddie could have lied, I think that that was an accurate statement. And when we looked at the DNA analysis results, they talked about, not trying to be graphic, but blood being in her private areas. And it's not from trauma because there was no other DNA there. I'm assuming it's not from trauma. So that would tell me it's from a cycle. So I do believe that she started her period and wasn't pregnant, but I don't know. Darlene said maybe he didn't like her body as she was changing, trying to put him off, but he didn't care. POS, he is. Yeah. I think that she was just trying to not appear attractive because her body was filling out. Rachel said, I don't think the baggy clothes was necessarily due to pregnancy. Could have been many reasons. Yep. I agree. I always wore oversized clothes in high school too.
See them wear more baggy clothes or to be, less revealing because they don't want to provoke or turn on anybody, for less of better terms.
And Lauren, as we take a look at the way investigators are going about questioning people, including Madeline's friends and Jen Soto, it seems clear that they are very curious about this potential fact, about whether or not Madeline may or may not have been pregnant at the time she disappeared, and as we know now, the time that she was murdered.
And the friends are a really critical part of this because a 13-year-old girl is a lot more likely to talk to their friends about some things than perhaps their parents or a teacher or an adult, especially if that adult is molesting them. So they did approach the friends. They had lengthy conversations with the friends, and one did say that they had discussed their menstrual cycles. Their menstrual cycles were aligned, but she had been late in January. The friend did say that she did eventually get her period in January, but she couldn't say whether or not she got it in February or not. Of course, it is February when she disappeared and then was found dead.
Let's take a listen, because that's a different friend who's talking about that. We're referring to this one as Madeline's friend number 3. Let's listen.
Oh yeah, a bad girl. I was just thinking the same thing real quick. Maybe her clothes reflected the way she felt inside. And as soon as I had mentioned that I wore baggy clothes in high school, I got to thinking about it, and it's because I was depressed. So maybe there's a correlation there. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a very possible and good thought process there. Mayla's mom said, when was he around Maddie before this last time? So the times that have been documented were Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then he came up for this time. This would have been, so I think he stayed through January 1st till right around the 1st of the year. And then this was what, February 25th. So about 2 months before, that we know of, but you got to keep in mind that he was going and picking up packages. So, and he was having them delivered there. Like, why was he having the packages delivered to Jen's house? Well, that makes me think that he was having them delivered there because he wanted to have the chance to basically run into Madeline. If Jen's not there, if he has the packages delivered on days that Jen's not there, he has easy access to Madeline without Jen being around. As upsetting as that may be, I think it's definitely a possibility that we should consider. Okay. Let me play this. Oh.
And Maddie kind of were maybe on the same cycle.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay. And in the interview with Detective Payne, you said that Maddie may have gotten her period later on.
Yeah.
Was that in February or January?
January.
January. Okay. Did you two discuss it all about February?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. Because I think you also mentioned to him when she doesn't get it, she's kind of moody.
Yeah.
Or, okay. Did it appear that way when you guys were at the birthday party or the weeks leading up to it?
At the birthday party.
Okay, how about this, Sharonda? Her friends talking about her, she gets kind of moody.
I find it weird that they didn't take out the audio in that, like the background, the whatever it was, probably a weed eater or something. Every time they go to interview Bestie, there's always something going on in the background. Hey, Abellis, it's good to see you. They are summoning you, indie girl. Okay, I got the 2 documents downloaded. We'll talk about them real quick again in this video so I can delete the other one. Hey, Tish. I'll try to cut out where Bazard was talking because I like his input. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Good morning, Tish. It's good to see you. Indie girl said, here I am. Here I am. Here I be. Jen's, hold on a minute. Hey, Liddy. Good to see you. A lot of people have said that she looked with child in that video. I think she just gained weight. Girl said Jen's shared Amazon account with Stinky. She mentioned that. Yes, she did. So if he had been having packages delivered, if she actually checked her Amazon, then she would have known. So that's a good point. Girls that age are typically moody to begin with, and from what we've heard, hello Tony, Madeline was no exception. Mayla's mom said we also have to remember that she could have had the same types of feelings for Stephen Stearns that Nazaya had for her abuser. Woody Allen comment makes me think that as well. Absolutely. They're groomed into thinking that this is acceptable. They feel special. They feel loved. They feel important. That's why it's so important for us to lift our young daughters and sons up and make them feel important and special and loved, so these abusers can't make their way in to their lives.
Rudy, when she misses it, what are your thoughts about what you can read into any of this?
I think it's really hard to say if that is directly tied to maybe a fear of being pregnant or not. I think when you're hormonal, when you're going through those changes, you're going to have mood swings anyway. And then when you are being sexually abused, you're going to be irritable. You're going to have mood swings. And I think that those things maybe coincide more so than the belief that, oh, if I don't get my cycle, that means I'm pregnant. I think that the discomfort of someone bothering you or touching you inappropriately can make you irritable, can make you worried. And then there are times where, let's say, if the cycle is coinciding with an act or with a behavior, let's say the abuser is checking for your cycle, those things may trigger some things, because it's very common for abusers to check your cycle often because it tells them when they can perpetrate on you and when they cannot. So it could be a possibility that she felt a lot of different ways or a lot of different triggers, and it doesn't necessarily mean that she was expecting a pregnancy or thinking that she may have been pregnant.
Hey, Starry Nights and Fireflies. I like your name. Starry Nights said, I have said from day one on this case, Stephen Stearns committed homicide on Maddie because she was with child that was hit, and it was his. I really, really hope I'm wrong, but for some reason I've always thought this about this case. Rest in peace, Maddie. Yeah. Something happened, like the officer said, something happened because he had unfettered, unlimited access to this child for so long. And then for him to all of a sudden do this out of nowhere, doesn't make sense. Something happened that made him do this. So what was it? Excuse me. Darlene says this doesn't make any sense either. Jen inviting him while she had the next 2 days off. That makes no sense. There is another reason whenever they got their side money from Jen needed to get paid. Wherever they got their side money from, Jen needed money, basically. And again, I mean, it's a possible speculation that we've talked about. Lastly, real quick, Roxanne said Desert Drifter was in a very bad car accident last week and is in the hospital in intensive care. Bad head injury, so very sad. Oh no, I don't know who Desert Drifter is, but please keep them in your prayers. And again, for this stream, I'll probably delete the other one. I do want to say fly, Eagles, fly for the person who asked me to say that the other day for their father who passed away. I'm sorry for your loss. Lastly, real quick before we get back to it, Tony said, I wonder if Jim was making Maddie take pregnancy tests to make sure she wasn't pregnant, and that was a worry for Maddie. It's possible. It's a possible speculation. If she knew about it and we referenced that because of her Woody Allen comment, then she might have made Maddie take pregnancy tests. That again would explain another reason why she could have possibly been tracking her cycle. And of course, if Jen was making her do that, then yeah, it would be a concern. We lost Bazard. I think Bazard just was frustrated with it in general and just decided not to come back. I hope he has a good time with his dad, though. I think she was figuring out it was wrong.
And as we heard, her friend was talking about her mood at her birthday party, which is really the last day of Madeline's life, tragically. So coming up next, how was Madeline behaving at her birthday party?
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday.
A true crime tragedy out of Tennessee.
This case is unlike anything I've ever been involved in.
A 15-month-old, Evelyn Boswell, goes missing and is later found dead on her family's compound.
If you guys are interested in the Megan Boswell case, we have been covering the trial from beginning to end. I do it every day. We've been having 6-hour live streams the past week. I think the past latter half of last week, and we will start again tomorrow with streaming the trial. I start an hour and a half late so that we can skip through all of the breaks. But if I do catch up with them and they go to break, we have watched interviews related to that case, like Megan's interview with the police and Hunter's interview with the police. So if you're interested in the Megan Boswell trial, Boswell case, we are covering that.
Teenage mother charged with little Evelyn's murder.
This little girl was let down by everyone in her life who was supposed to protect her.
What was the last thing, I guess, the conversation that you two had, you and your daughter?
We spoke about her birthday party. She had a birthday party on Sunday. She had a great time. I couldn't make it because I was working, but she had an amazing time. She was so happy with all her gifts.
When she said I couldn't make it because I was working, she closed her eyes and kind of rolled them in the back of her head. Tells me that, again, she was lying. Hey, Brenda, Bebopalua, more K, and welcome back, Sub Rosa. Real quick, Darlene said also there's something going on because they were both really upset on Saturday. Chris Stern said Stephen Stearns was so upset he needed meds. And on Sunday, Maddie was also upset for no reason. More than meets the eye. Absolutely. She called Stephen. Maddie called Stephen from her birthday party, too.
I told her good night, and yeah, that was it.
Madeline Soto's last day on earth was her 13th birthday party. And her mom wasn't there, but her mom said, yeah, it seemed like it was a good time. And that was what we were taking away from it, that she was having a good time. And then we saw some of the photos that were posted on social media of Madeline, and it looks like, yeah, it's a normal day. She got dressed up. She put on her special dress for her special day, for her special birthday party as she becomes a teenager, 13 years old. But now we're starting to hear from Madeline's friends from these interviews that have been released. And all of that brings us to the next question in our investigation.
Hey, Pink Banjo, I saw that you came in. Pink Banjo said that y'all have got, Darlene has got some great thoughts on this case. And thank you for that. Pink Banjo, I know I've said it before, but I love your name. Girl said, it bothers me that Madeline did get 13 years old. Is convenient, or do that have any reason? Sounds better 13 than 12. Can't let it go from my mind. I mean, I don't think there's any correlation because they can prove the abuse goes back so far. It does sound better. Not that any of it sounds good, but a 13, you add in that teen, so it's not as bad as saying like a 6-year-old or 12-year-old. When you're 13, you add the teen part, it's all bad across the board. But to somebody, just hearing it, maybe might think that it's not as bad because the word teen is in it. So I kind of get what you're saying, but it goes so far back that he's just messed up. I'm going to read 2 more comments real quick, and then we'll get back to it. Sketty, I love your name, Sketty Nona. Good to see you. Considering the torso he had in his closet at his parents' house and the sexual paraphernalia found, he may have had packages sent there so his parents wouldn't see them. I think that that's a definite possibility. Also, he didn't want his parents to know that he was getting money from somewhere, and we don't know where. And so he was having stuff sent there too. Bebop Lewis said, Jim would have known if Maddie got her period. My granddaughter lived with me for a year, and I knew her periods were irregular. Yeah, I know when my girls get theirs because, you have to, when I take out the bathroom trash, you can tell, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Lastly, real quick, More K said, that's right. A missed period does not always mean pregnant, and having a period does not always mean pregnant. Yeah. Always mean not pregnant. Right. Exactly.
Which is about the birthday party. How was Madeline behaving at her birthday party? What was really happening? How was she really acting? Still with us, Court TV's Lauren Silver and certified mental health counselor Sharonda Brown. So I want to play, before we do some analysis of all this, I want to play friend number 3 describing that birthday party because friend number 3 was there. Let's take a listen.
So you two were basically the only friends that were there at the birthday party. How was she during the birthday party? Was she outgoing, happy?
When I got there, she kind of changed her mood, but I was the first one of her friends to get there, but she was kind of on me for stuff. Like, she would kind of get mad at anything I asked.
Like what? What would you ask her that would make her mad?
There was like food there, and I didn't know what the food was, so I asked, and after like 3 times of asking, she got mad at me asking.
Okay. Sylvia gifted a Speculation Station membership. I'll have to look and see if I can figure out who it went to. Hey, Rhodey Lee. Thank you so much for gifting a membership, Sylvia, and it's good to see you, Sylvia. Thank you so much for that. If you were the lucky winner gifted from Sylvia, please tell them thank you, and I will come pick y'all up on the crazy train for Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Sylvia. That was so very sweet of you. I will work on pulling up on my phone to see who it went to. Oh, I was trying to see. Okay. It's hard for me to see because the sun is shining on my computer. It's everybody coming in. Thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate y'all.
We were playing Red Light, Green Light, and she got mad because I wasn't scanning the correct spot. It would just be about really little things.
Did she say anything else was bothering her during her birthday party?
Oh yeah, she had told her friends, like, literally, like, she told all of us a good day before her party. So she was mad that no one could make it because everyone was like out of town or like they couldn't make it.
And she was upset at that?
Yeah.
Who all from Maddie's family was there? Was there a lot? Or?
Yeah, there was a lot. I can't.
Okay. Did Maddie say what time she was leaving the party to you guys, or what time she was going to go home?
I had asked her when the party was gonna end before the cake that she was asking. And she said, I don't know, this party could last till like midnight or like 1 a.m. The only question was not party.
Okay. Did Maddie mention to you that he was going to be at the house when she got home or anything like that? No. Did she mention to you about mom? Was mom working, or why wasn't mom at the party?
No, she didn't mention the mom at all.
Okay.
Now, I know in a later interview, it might not have been that one, but she said she was upset that Jen didn't make it. That membership went to Conspiracy Realist. I like that name too. We got a couple comments I'm going to read real quick. Bebop said Maddie was possibly worrying about how she was going to tell Stefan not to abuse her anymore after her party, therefore acting sensitive on her birthday. I definitely think it's a possibility. I hope she did fight back. Lily, real quick, said, if you have any sunshine, we should use that in Oregon. Darlene said, I'm wondering if the police know they were making money after finding these other predators. Where was he getting money from? Not his parents. Where was Jen getting hers from? Too many questions. I agree. And then lastly, Moore says, that shows Maddie's age and maturity level, still playing a kid's game, red light, green light. I was thinking the same thing. I remembered playing red light, green light when I was a kid. And Mother May I, that was another one we used to play. Simon says, all those games.
Does she seem like she's upset at the mom? At her mom?
No, but I kind of figured that's why she was mad at like the party.
Because her mom wasn't there.
Yeah. But when I first got to the party, she got mad because I didn't have a gift.
Okay.
Which I had already given my gift to her at school, but she had said like, where's like the rest? Mm-hmm. And I gave her like this really big bag of like full of stuff. And I was like, what do you mean, where's the rest? And she was like, you said that there were going to be like a whole bunch of stuff as like a joke. And then, like, so where's the rest of the stuff? And I was like, this is it. So when I showed up to her party, she was like, I barely got any gifts, and I was surprised I didn't get a gift from you. And I was like, but I already gave you my gift at school. So, and then at the end of like the party, like when me and her were like leaving, she got mad at me because I didn't like shake all of like her family members like hands to like say goodbye, which I kind of was like, oh, bye. And then like I left, and then as I was like crossing the street and stuff, she got mad. She was like, I always get in trouble after you leave because you don't say goodbye to everyone. And I was like, I say goodbye, I just don't say it very loud.
Did she always have these kind of mood swings, like she could say, Colin?
Yeah.
Okay, Sharada Brown, are you hearing anything that's unusual from the way she's acting? You know, she's a 13-year-old girl. We know now this is her last day on Earth. We know she's going to go missing and found murder after this party. We know that she's been sexually abused for years. But are you hearing anything unusual about her behavior at the party?
I think the behavior when it comes to how she talks to her friends, how vocal she is with her expectations, it's really difficult for teenagers who are being sexually abused to keep friendships and maintain friendships because of their level of expectations. Most of the time when they're feeling neglected or feeling abused, they do look for their friends to be the compensation for that. And so when I'm hearing you didn't bring a gift or you didn't bring as many gifts, you didn't shake everybody's hand. So that's that compensation that I'm hearing. The other thing that I'm hearing is that there may be some other type of emotional abuse if in fact she's in trouble.
So that's really interesting, and I've never thought about it like that. And I appreciate her for bringing that to my attention. That's absolutely right, because when you consider this, she's getting the negative attention, but attention nonetheless from the adult in her life that's abusing her. Her expectation level is going to be higher. She's going to expect, because of the way the abuser is treating her, the expectation levels are different. She's trying to compensate from her friends. She's trying to compensate for that emotion, for those feelings and all of that from her friends. That makes a lot of sense. And I'd never thought about it like that. So I appreciate her bringing that to our attention.
When her friends don't say goodbye properly. So that stood out to me. And then also not believing that people cared, because she sounded like she was really bothered from the beginning that friends couldn't make it, her mother wasn't there, and so it didn't go as she expected, which again brings her back to that sense of loneliness, or she has to depend on someone else who potentially may be her abuser. So I heard a lot of that going on. So that's more typical than a 13-year-old who was upset that she didn't get the party she wanted. There were a couple of layers there that screamed neglect, that screamed abuse, that screamed entitlement or anger of some kind.
And Lauren, the other part that's very strange about this birthday party, it's at a relative's house. It's not at her house. Her mother's not there, and Stephen Stearns isn't there. These are the two adults who are in her life, for better or for worse, but these are the two adults who are in her life, but aren't at the party. What's more of the backstory of all of that?
That's really interesting too. Now, keep in mind, we have talked about the picture of her with the small cake, and I think there's 1 or 2 gifts on the table at the house. So I do think they did have something small for her at her house, which is good. But again, I mean, it just tells me that the family knew about what was going on and didn't like for Stephen and Jen to be around. They didn't like the way, not necessarily that they knew about the abuse, but maybe the way Jen treated Madeline, and they thought Stephen was a creep because, again, Stephen wasn't allowed over there. And from the way people were consoling each other and not Jen when Maddie is missing and they are talking in Mom's insurance office, they're very distant from Jen. I think the family didn't have much use for Jen, and they definitely didn't have much use for Stephen. I think that's more of the reason why they weren't at the party. I think her working is an easy excuse. But to be fair, like I said, it did appear they had a birthday party for her, where they had the small cake at the table. Roxanne said, I bet Maddie was abused emotionally as well, and it makes sense, sadly. And hello, Foxy. Thank you for being one. Thank you for being here. Hey, Lori. Thank you for being here. Lastly, Foxy said, the not saying goodbye is a cultural thing. I date mostly Hispanic guys, and it's like that at every gathering. If you don't say hi and bye to everyone, you're rude as fuck. Really? I didn't know that. Mary, I'm sorry you've had, I don't know what kind of day you've had, but if it's been bad, I hope that it gets better, honey. And thank you for being here.
Well, we know Jen had to work, and one of the friends did suggest that perhaps Madeline was upset that her mother couldn't be there. Stefan Stearns was not welcome there. In an interview that Jen did with police, she made it clear that her mother did not like Stefan. Not that there was anything to be suspected at that point, but she did not like Stefan, and he was not welcome at her home. So any family event would not have included Stefan. Also, as far as other friends, the one friend said Madeline was upset other friends couldn't come. The other friend number one who was interviewed said she hadn't been invited. So there is a discrepancy about how many friends were actually invited. Maybe she thought that they were invited and they weren't actually, but that part's a little unclear as well.
So Sharonda Brown, how about that part where you've got two adults in her life, her mother, obviously, and then Stephen Stearns, who has been referred to as her stepfather by her mother, but they're never married, but has been referred to that by Jen, aren't at the party. What do you think? And then the dynamic between Jen's family and Stephen Stearns, the man.
Mary, that says that there was an unalived man in my yard and police were everywhere. Oh my God, honey. That is so horrible. My one of my moderators had somebody was stabbed near their house. Like it was a whole big thing and police were called. What is going on? Is it the Super Bowl? Is there a full moon? Evidently there's stuff happening everywhere in everybody's neighborhoods. I am so sorry. That is crazy. I hope everything's okay. Grish is awesome. I like Grish. I sent him a bunch of information, so he should be getting some more videos out soon. I hope that it was stuff he could use. I am so sorry, Mary, and to the person that the other stuff happened to, I'm sorry to them as well. I mean, there's just crazy stuff going on in the neighborhoods lately. It's not a wonderful day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers said. Darlene said, wonder why he lied to his mom and told her he was too late to the party. She thought he was at the party. Ooh, lost my train of thought. LOL. Yeah. She did think he was going to the party, and he said he showed up after. I think because he didn't tell her that he wasn't allowed.
And accused now of molesting her and killing her. What are your thoughts about all of that?
I think that for a 13-year-old girl to not have her mother at her party is really crucial. It's really important. And I realize that her mom had to work, but there are times where mothers will take off work or plan the party on a day that they don't have to work. And I think the information of pushing, stuff into the room and putting him out the room. I think that coincides with this neglect of, again, my mother isn't here. Again, my mother has pushed me off to someone else or to do something else. I do know that from working with youth, those things are really important to them. They do know when someone's not there. They do recognize when someone's not paying attention to them, and they bring it up quite a bit, and it carries with them for the rest of their lives. So I wouldn't downplay the fact that mom was not there. I think that may be very crucial to this young lady's identity.
And how about grandma's intuition, right? Madeline's grandmother, Jen's mother, didn't like Stephen Stearns. What are your thoughts about mom's intuition there?
I think that most people know when a predator is in the room, or even when they're paying attention to body language. And I think that that's really important and crucial to note, because most people, when they feel uncomfortable, they'll notice it, they'll say it, and sometimes they'll give people the benefit of the doubt. But when you talk about elderly or people who are paying attention, they can tell a predator most of the time. And so to say, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this thing being around, I don't think he should be here, which means that they know something. They've seen something, they've witnessed something, and at some point didn't believe that mom set the boundary. So it was up to them to do that. So I think it was a good decision to keep her safe whenever they could.
Big thank you, Sharonda Brown. Great insight as always. Lauren Silver's going to stay with us. Up next, did Madeline believe she was in a relationship with Stephen?
I think so. Oh, I pushed the wrong one. I didn't want to play his little intro because I don't want to get in trouble. I think she did. I honestly do. Unfortunately.
I'm Vinny Politan. We continue our investigation of the murder of Madeline Soto, who had just celebrated her 13th birthday when she was killed. What happened?
Mary, I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry. As Bebopalua said, as if she didn't have enough abuse by her mother and Stephen, the family blamed her for her friend not shaking hands. I hope not. I hope they knew that it wasn't her fault. Sub Rosa said they actually were watching Maddie like a hawk, like Jen claimed she was doing, right? Okay. And then Sub Rosa said fried potato.
Happened to this young girl was unthinkable. Years of sexual abuse under her own roof, allegedly by the man who killed her, her mom's boyfriend. Here's her story. Madeline Soto's life was difficult. Her dad lived out of state, so she was being raised by her mom, Jen Soto. Jen had an on-again, off-again relationship with a man named Stephen Stearns. Stearns didn't work much. He didn't own much, so he spent a lot of time over the years living in the house with Jen and Madeline. Then in a strange arrangement, Stearns would sometimes sleep with Jen and Madeline, and sometimes with just Madeline alone. Jen says she didn't suspect anything was going on, but when Madeline went missing and was found murdered, detectives told Jen Stearns had pictures on his phone of Madeline being sexually abused by Stearns. Her reaction has raised eyebrows and some suspicion, but Jen hasn't been charged with anything, while Stearns has been charged with abusing and murdering Madeline and is facing a potential death sentence.
I can't believe that Jen Soto has not been charged with anything. And it looks like she's not gonna be. Again, that's up to the DA, not the detectives. I think if the detectives were allowed to, they would have definitely nailed her behind to the wall. But they've got to have enough evidence to charge her. And if they say she's not guilty of anything, then she's not going to be charged. Again, it appears that they're not going to charge her, but I hope they do end up charging her with something. Sorry. Liddy says, be careful, everybody. Yeah. Everybody be careful all the time, every day.
The detectives in this case, I think, really did an amazing job of zeroing in on all the relevant issues in their interviews and the way they approached this case. And especially in the way that they interviewed Jen Soto and the things that they questioned her about. Take a listen.
The videos, the text messages, the images, they're all documented forever. This has been an ongoing thing. And at her age, I think she probably thought they were in a relationship. She probably thought they were in love. At the same time, you guys are sleeping in the same bed together. You guys are all cohabitating. She's not sleeping in her room. But you felt the need to establish a rule that they couldn't sleep in the same room. But when you establish that rule, for 3 years, she's already been dating him, essentially.
Yep.
Interesting insight from the detective, believing that Madeline may have believed she was in a relationship with Stefan, which brings us to the next question in our investigation. It's exactly what the detective's talking about. Did Madeline believe she was in a relationship with Stefan? And she's 13 at the time. This has been ongoing year after year after year after year. Joining me, Court TV, digital content producer, knows the facts of the case inside out, Lauren Silver, and psychotherapist and CEO of Life Counseling Solutions, Dr. Janie Lacey. Thank you both.
Hey, Lisa.
I want to play a little bit of one of Madeline's friends. And again, this is, young girls speaking to each other about what's going on in their lives and now being interviewed by detectives. Let's take a listen. This is Madeline, friend number 1.
Rachel said, sadly, with Jen, it's not about what they think. It's about what they can legally prove in court. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Lisa said, when it comes to a fried potato, I think they have a lot on her. The bomb is going to drop on her by the time of the trial. They are building the case. They're building their case. It's just kept confidential for now. I really hope that's where we're at with it. Girl said, Jen did isolate Madeline. Jen did say Madeline don't know where her friends live. How can she know? Right. Because she didn't let her go spend the night with them and stuff. Mary said, about Madeline, in my opinion, thought she was in a relationship, groomed relationship. Why didn't the family like Stefan? I think that's important. I think it's important too. And I hope we find out at trial. Okay. And then lastly, Darlene said, her dad does not have to clean, as he says. If he was concerned about his daughter, why did he not go after custody? Now dad is playing Monday quarterback. Jen will be charged. Mark my words. I think the dad did try to go after custody of Madeline, but Jen's parents paid for Jen to have full custody of Madeline. And I mean, if you think about, they own a condo in Florida right there by the beach. I mean, they probably had quite a bit of money. And he was dealing with going to the barracks because of the guns and things like that from when he was in service overseas, I believe. Him and a friend stole some firearms. So I don't blame him a lot. The stepmom would talk shit about Jen, and that's one thing you don't ever do. I don't even let my bonus children, they don't talk. Their mother hasn't been in their life, and when she is, it's not a good that she's not very nice, and they will even say bad things about their mom, and I tell them not to say bad things about their mom because that's their mom and that she loves them. You've got to be very careful with that as a step parent. And she would talk shit about Jen and make Maddie feel uncomfortable, so it kind of sucked. But I don't blame Dad. I think he was just trying to do the best he could considering the situation.
Did she ever talk about having any boyfriends or anything like that?
She had a crush.
Oh, no.
Boyfriends. Oh, no. She did date a dude, but it wasn't last. Like he's weird. I don't know if he talks about him. He doesn't.
When was this?
It was like last year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who she's dated since then. Really, I'm not huge when I see my friends with the relationship. But I know she had a crush on the dude. I remember my friends did tell me, like, she did talk about her friend, like her stepdad, but it was only like good things. It was never, oh, I don't want to go home or anything, or like anything like that. It was always compliments for her stepdad. And as someone with a stepdad, I never thought anything of it.
Okay, Lauren, what have we been able to gather from these interviews and the other evidence about Madeline's state of mind and her thoughts about her stepdad? He's not really a stepdad, but you know, as they refer to us as the stepdad. What have we been able to figure out here?
He is referred to in many of the court documents as stepfather, mother's boyfriend. So unclear how she saw that relationship. It was on again, off again, and she had told her friends that he had moved out shortly before her death. But as far as how she felt about him, not completely clear, but all positive from what I can tell. Her friend said that she spoke well of him, all positive things, all good things. They never had any reason to think anything other than a positive family home. And they actually noted that they were constantly on the phone. So 13-year-olds love using their phone, and she would talk to friends and Stefan. And outside of her best friends, it was Stefan that was the number one person she was talking to, according to those friends.
Dr. Janie Lacey, how about that? How does a 13-year-old interpret 4 years at least, it could be more than 4 years, of ongoing sexual abuse, yet you have like this saying good things and on the phone with him and referring to him as stepdad? What do you think is going through her mind about what is this relationship?
Linda Glover said, when Jen said Maddie didn't know how to get home or where her friends lived, she was trying to make Madeline seem not worth much. She puts her down like an enemy, person of no value, but not Stefan. She kept Stefan near. You got a good point. She didn't have a lot of nice things to say about Madeline, and she might have been saying it like that. Darlene said, was the boyfriend at school real, or did Stefan Stearns make him up? Maybe she said no more. I like this boy and want to date him. I guess we'll never know, or the cops will tell us what they have at trial. Yeah, I know that she did date like 1 or 2 boys at school. One of them got sent to an alternative school because he broke a kid's arm. That's about all I know about that. I think she did have a little boyfriend at school. And I do think that she told Stefan no more. I think she said she wanted to start dating boys her own age, and Stefan couldn't deal with that. Miss O and Miss Jim Morrison are coming in. Andrea, hello to you as well. Miss O said Tyler and Jen didn't have a real relationship. She was a booty call. Tyler married shortly after Madeline Soto's birth. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, Vinny, when there are victims of sexual abuse who are minors, there's usually a grooming process that happens. And I have no doubt that that's probably the case with Madeline Solo. So when we think about this, we're looking at like the abusers. They have this systematic way to desensitize the victims through gradual boundary violations, right? So, and they can often frame the abuse as special relationship or love and start using some of these types of words to Madeline. And he can potentially have given her gifts and gave her special attention, which can create confusion about the nature of their interaction. So when we're thinking about the abuser, Stefan, there's manipulation tactics that he's probably used. In these cases, right, sometimes they can say you're mature for your age, and they can use words like us against the world. And he can also
and I mean, again, I want us to take a second and imagine that. Imagine being a small child, getting like I've referenced in the Neziah Harris case, getting, instead of having to ride the school bus home, you've got somebody that comes and picks you up. They give you money so you can buy your little snacks and your little drinks at the gas station. They might buy you gifts. They might dote on you. They say things like, you're mature for your age. It's us against the world. You're so beautiful. I love you so much. I mean, just getting that extra attention from somebody and making the child feel like they're special, valued, loved. the attention, it's that's what they do. That's how they prey. And it's really sad. And it's easy to see how, unfortunately, these children can fall for it. Boris, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Boris asked, how many times does Stephen Stearns visit Jen and Maddie between the end of January and February 25th? Does anybody know? No, we don't. What has been documented was that he visited for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then on the 25th, I think he stayed through the first of the year. When he came for Christmas, but he also was coming to get packages. So we don't know how often he was using the excuse of having a package delivered there to go pick up to get at Maddie, unfortunately.
Also probably have used guilt or to maintain secrecy. So he can have normalized his inappropriate behaviors that were gradual over time. And we think about her developmental stage. Minors, they don't have the full emotional and cognitive maturity to understand healthy relationships or to even recognize manipulation, right? Because their brain is still developing. So we're looking at all of these dynamics. But there's also something that was probably key when we're thinking about her looking at him or reported that good comments and these types of things, and potentially looking at him as a relationship, is there's a power dynamic, right? So when we look at trauma bonding in particular, the abuser can create this environment where they can isolate, where he isolated her and he became the primary source of her emotional connection, especially if mom was away. So we'll see the alternation between abuse and affection, which creates this very strong psychological bond. So could she, in her mind, also been able to protect herself to cope with the trauma and think that there was a relationship? Absolutely. We see this all the time in these dynamics.
Let's take a listen to another friend. This is Madeline's friend, referring to her as number 3, talking about Madeline and Stephen Stearns.
Have you ever...
Hey, Andrea, it was you. I couldn't remember who asked, but we did say it. I said it in the other stream where we had technical difficulties, and I said it in this stream too for you today. I said fly, Eagles fly, and I hope that you are okay. And I'm sorry about what happened with your father. I hope you're okay today. And thank you for being here. Hey, Irene, thank you for being here. Jen Soto said he visited 3 times after he moved in December. Thank you for clarifying that for me. I appreciate that.
Met this guy, her mom's boyfriend?
I went over to her house like once or twice and he was there. I met him in person once.
Okay. Did she ever talk about him?
I knew she was on call with me a lot, and I knew that she had told me that he'd moved out of like the house. Mm-hmm. And one day I asked to hang out with her. And we'd made plans like a week or 2 before. And then the day of, I wake up to a text message and it was like, hey, I can't, my stepfather's coming, and we're going to hang out together for the day.
Okay. Did she seem like she had a good relationship with him?
Yeah, they seemed pretty tight. They seemed really close.
Okay. Did she ever mention anything that may have been weird to you about him or mom?
Other than that they were like really close and that they were like always on call.
How about that, Dr. Jenny Lacey? The observations of another child saying, well, they were really, really tight, like really close. Like it seemed like the child thought it was a lot more than most children with a parent.
Well, when children are intuitive and they can know when something is off. So that's what I'm hearing when I'm hearing the conversation from her friends, and I also think about potentially him exploiting her normal developmental needs, right? So if mom was away and working or tired or whatever the potential situation was with her, then, it's natural for a teenager or a preteen to have this desire for acceptance and belonging. And it's also natural for them to want us as adults to approve and validate. So then mom has this boyfriend that's in and out of the home who's taking care of Madeline, who's helping with the needs and these types of things. And we also know at this age, there's a natural emerging interest in romantic relationships. So there's this desire to feel mature and special. So that can absolutely have been exploited during that grooming process. So her friends and their conversation and picking up on these types of dynamics in their intuitive nature, knowing something is off and expressing it age appropriately would probably be spot on.
Speaking about age appropriate, again, just turning 13, there's a
Lisa, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. If you need to talk, you can email me, and so can you, Andrea. Darlene said, the thing that really bothers me was the Woody Allen comment before we heard Jen say, because, quote, they groomed the child. Big red flag. She knew more than she's saying. Lied about talking to her school. Sexist. She did lie about a lot, and I know the detectives picked up on it. Again, I just hope that the DA picks up on it and can prove it. Hey, Joyous.
Drawing from, it appears, one of her notebooks, very graphic drawing that appears to be done by Madeline. One part of it, we're blurring it out, is a male genitalia right next to female genitalia. And then another one is a man standing,
oh my God,
and a woman on her knees in front of the man, and no one is wearing clothes in any of this. Does that tell you anything, Dr. Jenny Lacey?
It makes me feel very sad as I look at that, because what that would tell me is that there was an image in her head because of potentially what was happening to her, and her documenting that, right? So there's a mirroring that occurs for things that have happened to children, and then what they will.
I'm sorry, my computer was slow. I was trying to cover that up. Good Lord, I can't believe they even showed that much of it. Well, now that's out there. God almighty.
Process in their mind, and then using it through art therapy, or using it to other types of ways to get it out of their mind. So it makes me feel very sad when we see those images, because more than likely those are the things that were occurring to this precious little girl.
Dr. Jenny Lacey is going to stay with us. Big thank you to Lauren Silver, working overtime for us tonight. We thank you so much. You can read all of her work on courttv.com. Amazing stuff. Okay, still to come. What was the nature of Jen and Stefan's relationship?
We missed him, and I wanted to help him out.
Yeah, the nature of their relationship was he had groomed her to the extent that she just accepted anything from him, or she knew what was going on, was possibly making money, and allowed it to happen. That's the nature of their relationship. Like, there's more to it than we will ever know. It's horrible. They really pissed me off showing that picture, and then my computer was so slow.
He's not a very clean guy. He's kind of a little hoarder, a collector. So just my house was always a mess and never the way that I wanted it to look. Or the clutter just gave me like. So I asked him to move upstairs, and he did. And he lived upstairs until until December of last year. And then he moved to.
Foxy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, honey. Hey, Mallory. Yeah, Sub Rosa, she wanted to help him out. How wonderful. I'm with you.
Northport, Florida, with his parents, but they had promised him a job, but that fell through. So we were in the process of trying to get him to come back up here to get his job back at Disney and for him to move back into the house for a little bit. And I'm not sure long term. I know temporarily I was willing to accept him back.
Was that something out of convenience for him, or because you?
A little bit of both. We missed him, and I wanted to help him out.
Maddie didn't miss him.
We missed him. I wanted to help him out. What was going on here? What exactly was going on? You know, this dynamic between Stefan Stearns and Jen Soto has been bizarre from the beginning. It all began with those interviews that we saw, including the one on WFTV. Really strange dynamic there going on. I want to play for you an interview that was done with one of Jen's friends. And this is someone, you know, in Jen's life, but from the outside looking at Stefan Stearns and looking at this relationship. Take a listen.
And then she hooked up with that guy.
Okay.
Stefan. And I, again, just trying to remember, we probably knew them maybe another 4 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we didn't like him.
You didn't like Stefan, or why not?
He was a scumbag.
Oh yeah.
We knew. Not that he would do that.
Right.
Never. I never had that, But he didn't have a job. Couldn't hold a job. Was proud about painting these stupid little plastic soldiers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. I was just like, I resented that he got, I don't know how he stayed alive. Most of us have to work.
Right.
And I resented that. I resented it, right? So that he had the time to do that. I think, so then they moved, I believe. I think they moved north, but I'm not sure. He found a job. So they left, and I thought, so then Courtney tells me that they had to move back. I guess he lost his job. I don't know. I thought they had split up at that point. Okay. Honestly, I thought they had split up. And I know Courtney said at that point they were having some issues. And Courtney said to Jen, leave him. You don't do that. Right? You don't usually interfere in somebody's business like that. Right. He was pretty bad enough that she was like, leave him.
Yeah.
Now we didn't. So we hardly knew, them once he entered their life.
Gotcha. Did they ever spend any time out here? Have they ever?
So I'm questioning, like, okay, like and when you hear these interviews again, it's like you pick up on things. What did Jen tell Miss Lady here, Courtney? What did Jen tell the lady that's being interviewed, her wife? What did Jen tell her, Courtney, the wife? Like, what did Jen tell Courtney that made Courtney say, leave him right now, immediately? Like, I don't imagine that she told him about the abuse, but maybe she said something like, I don't know, he's made some weird comments about Maddie, and he also won't keep a job and things like that. Like, that would make somebody feel strongly enough to overstep the bound of being a friendship and not interfering in somebody else's relationship to say, leave him. Did Jen possibly say to Miss Courtney, he seems to be looking at Maddie a weird way. He's made a couple of comments that just seem out of line. He doesn't have a job anyway. So and we're always fighting. So, I'm just kind of, and then Courtney's like, leave him immediately. I question if that's kind of what happened with that conversation. I would love to know from Courtney what was said. Darlene said Maddie left a picture journal, maybe because she didn't have the words to put on paper, but she left little breadcrumbs to help the police put them both away. Yeah, she did draw things in her counselor's office. It was easier for her to draw instead of write. She did leave breadcrumbs, and I hope that it was enough to get Jennifer put away. And then Mary said, used her abused, not knowing any better yet. Stephen tells he had the mind of a teenager. Our minds just don't want to go to the worst things happening. Yeah. Thank goodness she did leave what she did.
They ever come here to visit?
She did come. Maddie came, not him. He never came here.
Okay.
We would never. I mean, I'm telling you, not like that guy.
Fascinating, right? Leave him. Once he came in, we didn't see her much. I didn't like him. He was weird. We're trying to figure out how he lived, right? Like, what did he do? All of this is strange, right? Brings us to the next question in our investigation. It's about these two. What was the nature of Jen and Stefan's relationship? This was not normal. Not even close to normal. Joining me, investigative reporter for WFTV, has been following this case from the beginning. Shannon Butler is with us, and still with us, psychotherapist Dr. Janie Lacey. Okay, Shannon Butler, how would you describe the nature of Jen and Stefan's relationship?
Well, over the course of this entire case, we described it differently because more and more things would come out. When we first met them in that first interview we did, at their home. And at the time, Madeline was just missing. It seemed at that point they were boyfriend, girlfriend, or fiance. They've changed the story a bit on what their relationship.
So this lady is the one who did this interview where she consoles Stefan. That's interesting. I'm interested to hear what she has to say. Gray Moon said, hey, be sure to hit the like button. We have 183 people watching and only 3 likes. Thanks, Speculating family. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up on this. And I appreciate that. Help us get out into the algorithm. Thank you guys so much.
In the beginning, we thought, well, this is a couple. But as things started to kind of come about, they were on again and off again, that we know. But at this time, it took us a while to learn that they were actually off again when all of this happened. But we thought it was so strange because he...
Okay, I think we've lost Shannon's connection. We'll try to get that back to you in just a second. Dr. Jenny Lacey, I want to read this to you. This is Jen's friend, Angelica. Angelica stated that she had another conversation with Jennifer about her sexual interactions or lack thereof with Stefan. Angelica said they didn't have sexual relations often, and that is why she didn't want to be with him any longer. Then there was an interview of Jennifer about all of this. I asked Jennifer to explain her and Stefan's sex life, which she described as vanilla. Stefan would want to have the type of sex that's not traditional with Jennifer, but she said she didn't want to. So explain this to me, Dr. Jane Lacey. Why is Jen with this guy? No sex. He's got no job. He's got no money. He likes to play with his little toys. He creates a mess in the house. He's not exactly a looker. I've seen the guy without a shirt on. He's not going to the gym and working out.
No.
And he's very, I don't know if she knew about the abuse or not, so I can't say anything about that. But why would she be with a guy like this? Why would she have this guy in her home? Why would she be happy that he came back after not getting another job?
Good point.
No, I can make a lot of assumptions here, Vinny. And one of my main assumptions in these types of dynamics is that he probably found something in Jen that she really needed. And my assumption based off of what we know of this case would probably be he came in, was very helpful and supportive. And especially if she, as a single mom, had all these different dynamics. So he was there taking care of Madeline, probably running errands, and probably she became dependent on him for that help.
She looks like a potato there. She really does.
So in these situations, when women are not getting their needs met sexually, like you just read in the statement, it could have been other things that she found important. So then overlooking that there was a part of their relationship that was not healthy in that sense. And usually when
Pink Banjo said, I watched another creator who said that they were posing as a couple for the business they were conducting, and I think it's possible. It's a possible speculation. Hey, Susie Q. Susie Q thinks it's substance related. Hey, Dainty Dane, good to see you. Moth's mommy said Jen wanted a boyfriend/partner, and there was nobody else. Hey, Orange Rose, thank you for being here. I agree, Moth.
When predators or people that are abusers, they will prey on single mothers, and they have these trust building tactics. So they study and they kind of come in and find out what she needs help with, or they listen. They're really good at listening because they're collecting information when they're listening. So I would imagine in this dynamic that's probably why Jen was happy that he came back, because when he's gone, then she has to take care of her daughter. She has to run the errands. She has to do whatever the things that he was bringing to the relationship were now falling on her. And with her daughter, I would imagine, Madeline was used to Stefan taking care of her, because when predators are building relationships with mothers, they're also simultaneously building relationships with the children. They almost become this father figure. They'll pick them up from school. They're involved in their activities. And then they create these opportunities for that trusted alone time.
All right. Yep. We're out of time for tonight. Sorry we disconnected from Shannon, but we have her back now. Thanks so much, Shannon Butler and Dr. Jenny Lacey. Now, when Stephen Stearns entered the lives of Madeline and Jen Soto, everything changed. A little girl's innocence was shattered. Now, Stearns is presumed innocent, but according to investigators, the images on his phone are clear. Little Madeline was sexually abused by an adult man over the course of years. Then that little girl's life was ended. And again, Stearns is presumed innocent, but the evidence is clear. She was murdered. Now the question is, will a jury hold Stephen Stearns responsible? I'm Vinny Politan. We'll keep digging for answers.
Okay, I want to show y'all something talking about, since he was referencing the abuse that Madeline endured from Stephen for so long. We are going to watch the 10-minute interview about the documents, but I'm going to read the documents to you first. I won't go back over the course teacher. Let me pull up a couple of things from my files real quick to share with you guys. First, I want to share this video with you that one of my moderators pulled. Now, it's going to be in Spanish, but what we have got to pay attention to, I think it's in this one. What we need to pay attention to is the dates, okay? Yep, I got it. Hold on just a minute and I'll get it pulled up. Let me pause it. Okay. It's in Spanish, but I'm going to basically translate it to you so you understand what she's talking about. Do you guys remember the document? Okay, do you remember the document where it states what was in Stephen Stearns' videos? What, like, it's at the end of the second document I dropped, right? And it gives us a date. And it said, let me go ahead and put my trigger warning up. It states that Stephen instructs Madeline to hold his member in her mouth for 3 seconds, or he won't let her watch cartoons or play with his phone. So in order to watch freaking cartoons, this child has to hold his member in her mouth for 3 seconds. And that's the only way she can continue to watch cartoons or get to watch cartoons and play with his phone. Now look at this picture behind her. I'm going to play it. Do you see the picture behind her of Madeline on Stephen's shoulders and Jen over there in the corner?
Uno peor que el otro. Me llamó muchísimo la atención.
I think she's going to
el
show the
primero de
date.
ellos siendo,
That's
de
where
hecho,
it's mentioned.
19 de junio del 2019. Esta foto yo la capturé del Instagram de la mamá y fue.
Okay, she's pointing to the date. The date is June 20th, 2019. Okay. On the document, the date of when Stephen Stearns told Madeline to hold his member in her mouth for 3 seconds in order to watch cartoons and play with the phone, that happened on June 19th of 2019. This is June 20th of 2019. This is the next day. This is the day after Madeline had to do that. That's how little she was. And she's up on his shoulders. This is the very next day. It could have been the first time he abused her. It was around when he started abusing her. Look how little she is. Like, her front tooth is missing. I'm going to play the rest of this video. But that Jesus. Look how little she is. And I congratulate her for finding that, but it's so sad. Hey, Terry. The document is the homicide indictment. It's actually several 1,000-page document. If you want to hear like descriptions of the images that were found on the phone, it's at the end of my second reading of that document. I'll try to grab it and show it to you if you want to hear what specifically the images are, because after I read it, I had to stop. All right, I'm going to play the end of this.
Y fue subida el 20 de junio del 2019. Es decir, esta foto es de un día después de la foto de los primeros abusos que encontraron en el celular de este señor. Sin palabras.
The very next day, they're down in the pool and she's sitting on his shoulders. It's enough to make me want to just snatch this person up. Stephen Stearns. I'm glad he's in prison. I'm glad that I can't get hold of him. While my YouTube is coming up, hold on. Let me grab my files. Okay, in the first half of this live stream where I was having technical issues that will be deleted, I'm going to show you something real quick. We went over the video with Italio Brett that I did about the chorus teacher, and Bazard came up and he pointed this out to me. There is a picture of Madeline in that video, and I redacted all of the faces. Well, like I said, there's a picture of Madeline. So I'm going to show you this picture of Madeline real quick. So this is Italio Brett. If you go watch the chorus teacher video, you will understand that he was charged with doing some horrendous things to little boys over Discord. Here is Madeline circled. I do believe that's her. I wanted to show y'all. Bazard brought it to my attention that it was indeed her. Oh, that's a document we're going to talk about in just a second. Hold on. Tried to get a little bit closer in on the image, but it's hard to see. I do believe that that's Madeline, and that's him singing. He abused some little boys over the Discord app. Now, if I can keep that down in relation to that, let me show you this real quick. If you want to see the video talking about in graphic detail about the images that were found on Stephen's phone, that document video looks like hold on, it was a while ago that I put it out. It's this one right here. It says Stearns homicide indictment, reading pages 102 through 345. It's in the 300s. It's like at the very end, because I stopped right after that because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't continue reading that document. I had to take a serious break from it after that. Okay, while I get that playlist pulled up, I do want to show you these two documents. I do have a document drop video coming out. These two documents are not mentioned in that video. I will have another one coming out mentioning these two documents, but definitely check out the document video that I will drop after the live. It's talking about some interesting things. It's talking about you can't restrain Stephen and show him as the predator he is, because God forbid he look guilty in front of the jury, which is absolutely disgusting. And they don't want impact statements read on behalf of Madeline, but you need to know how his death will impact his family. But never mind Madeline and how her death impacted her community, her family, her friends, and her loved ones. As you can tell, I was not very happy, but that will be in the document video that I release after this live. Bella's just gifted 20 memberships. Thank you so much for that. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. They went to I Am Me, Nala Cat, Angela, IHA, Dana, Callie Cat, Plea the Matrix, Katie Kibbe, I Am Free to Be Me, Kiki, Tracy, Yvonne, P, Garden Critters, Pansy, Miss Autoimmune, Wit, Fliz, Feliz, TK Texas, Ashley Ann, and Karen. Thank you so much for gifting those memberships. If you were gifted from Abellis and you are aware, please tell her thank you. That was so very sweet. I will come pick y'all up on the crazy train on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much for that, Abellis. That was so very sweet of you. And we have a super chat. Hold on. From Miss Jennifer Hoff. Thank you so much for the super chat. Jennifer says, you are awesome. Thank you for your content. Well, thank you for being here. I could talk to myself for hours. I would be nothing without you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Y'all are so very sweet and supportive. Thank you. So this is a document. It's a notice of depositions being taken. These are all going to happen on March 4th. It's going to be Brian Moore, Detective Moore, Detective Smallwood, Detective Joseph, Miss Junko, and Miss Janik. Those are all law enforcement officers. I will work on pulling their information from the documents that I have and put out another video showing their police narratives as far as that goes. Hold on, I've got one more document in here. Maybe not. Here it is. Hold on just a minute, and I'll get this pulled up for y'all. So this is like a really important document. It's a motion to continue. Like we have all pretty much known, they're going to try to continue the CSAM trial to a later date. So it shows us 2 pages, but the back page is just where they signed it. So it reads, the state of Florida is the plaintiff versus Michael Stephen Stearns, the defendant. It reads, comes now the defendant, Stephen Michael Stearns, by and through the undersigned attorney pursuant to Florida Rule of Criminal Procedure 3.190F, and moves this court to enter its order granting a continuance of the above styled clause. As grounds in support of this motion, the defendant would show 1. That pretrial conference is scheduled to be heard on February 12th at 9 a.m. 2. That additional time is needed in order to prepare this case for trial. 3. That the initial set of depositions are scheduled for March 4th, 2025. 4. That an evidence viewing is scheduled for March 24th, 2025. 5. The remaining set of depositions are scheduled for April 10th, 2025. 6. That the defense has filed several motions to suppress that are pending, requesting hearing time. 7. That speedy trial in this case has been previously waived. 8. That this motion is filed in good faith and not for the purpose of delay. 9. The state does not, emphasis on does not, object to this motion to continue. So that tells us right there, the state does not object to this motion to continue. That tells us right there that the motion, there's going to be a continuance, because they already stated the state doesn't object to it. So it's definitely going to be continued. And then 10, the defense would request this case to be set for a status date as to the following schedule of the defense's pending motions hearing or pretrial conference date that would allow for the completion of these items. And then it is signed. Wherefore, the defendant moves the court to enter its order granting a continuance in the above styled clause. Hold on just a second. Okay, I apologize if that's loud. My husband has to change the brakes, and that's the jack he was pulling over. Okay. So now we're going to watch the other video I have for you guys that talks about these motions that have been entered, since that was why we were kind of talking about the documents. There's a 10-minute video that's going to go over these documents, and then we will look at some articles about the other predator that was at Madeline's school. Okay, this is the other video talking about basically the documents that we have been dropping, will continue to drop, and have talked about here today. This is from Court TV. It's titled Stephen Stearns fights to remove death penalty in Madeline Soto case. Okay. I heard about that, Darlene. That is absolutely devastating. And then they found out later that the little girl was being abused by her foster father. And she had to basically get it on camera and take it. And that was after they made her publicly apologize and all kinds of really messed up things. All right. So again, this is from Court TV. It's titled Stephen Stearns fights to remove death penalty in Madeline Soto case. Hey,
We're spotlighting the man charged with the murder of 13-year-old Madeline Soto. Stephen Stearns will be in court 1 week from today for a pretrial hearing. This week, he filed a motion arguing that Florida's death penalty is unconstitutional. Stearns' attorneys say that aspects of a Florida law that outline aggravating factors are overly vague and subject to being applied in an arbitrary and inconsistent manner. Now, Stearns is separately facing dozens of charges that he sexually abused Madeline and will go to trial later this month on those charges. Let's get you caught up on the case evidence. Here's Court TV's Cody Thomas.
I was muted, sorry. As some of you are pointing out, his attorneys are fighting. He does not. Hey, Flora W. Flora W says he needs to come clean and tell it all. He does, but he won't. Fly, Eagles, fly. Thank you, Abellis. Right, Lisa?
We know digital forensic evidence has been central to the investigation into the death of Madeline Soto. And I traveled to Osceola County, Florida to get a firsthand look at the crime scenes. What quickly became apparent is just how much surveillance video the prosecution should have. So we will begin right here at the Venetian Bay Apartments where Jen Soto and Stephen Stearns and Madeline lived. We'll pause right here just to get a scope of the scene, how protected this complex was. First and foremost, a security guard is out front, so no one's coming in and out without having to check in with this guy. We see that a car right here was already getting checked when I was there a few months ago. Also, what we notice, cameras over here and a big gate. So this is not just a complex that anyone can roll into and roll out of. Now we'll move along to the back gate. Now this gate is where prosecutors say they have video of Stephen Stearns here yet again, more cameras, going in and out on the morning that Madeline went missing, to the dumpster, also in the complex. What do we have? More cameras, even here looking at the dumpster. Now, what's important to note about this dumpster here is that this is where police say they found Madeline's backpack and school-issued laptop. And also they say they have Stearns on video throwing those things away. This is
So they have got him all over the place. I mean, you've even heard in the document where they've got him on camera driving up and down the road and all over the place, meandering that morning. Basil has just joined us. Hey, overprotected, sorry. Hey, I am me. Darlene said they need to train cops how to look for cues on victims that are abused. If he doesn't plead guilty and drags everyone into a trial, he will be put to death for sure. People are not stupid. Death penalty, right? I am me said his attorneys fight so hard for this monster to make a name for herself. It appears because like 50 freaking documents.
This is around the time that she was found and declared dead, but what's important is this memorial is right in front of this area right here, because in these trees, in that thicket of trees, is where Madeline's body was eventually found by police about 5 days after she went missing. Now, of course, all this was leading up to the eventual arrest of Stephen Stearns in March of 2024, when police picked him up on sexual assault charges. Stearns was then later charged with the murder of Madeline Soto.
From what I understand, too, that memorial has been taken down. And from what I understand, even the locks are not allowed to be there. That's why for Madeline's birthday, I'm going to do a stream and I'm going to raise money. It will be the only time you ever see a Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo on my channel. And those will be specifically for fundraising. And I'm going to send it to the school. It was going to go to the choir teacher, but obviously that's not a good idea. And he's no longer the choir teacher, thank God. So I will be getting in touch with her school and send whatever money we raise on her birthday. On the date that she died, which would be February 25th, we will have a day of silence. I will not be going live or posting any videos. And then I believe in March is when I figured out that Naziah Harris's trial will be. I'm thinking that that's when we're going to do the fundraiser for Naziah Harris. And I'll be sending any money we raise from that. Plus, I'll obviously be adding money myself to whatever is raised. And that will go to the after-school program that Naziah Harris liked.
That was Cody Thomas, Court TV reporter, talking about this case. Now let's bring in the former state attorney in Palm Beach County, Florida. He is in private practice now, attorney Dave Ehrenberg. Dave, good morning to you and congratulations on your big move. I hope this means we get to see more of you.
Yes, Julie, great to be back with you. In fact, the first week after I went into private practice, I was teaching at Harvard Law School's Travel Advocacy Workshop with Linda Kenny Maddue.
Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. I'm not going to, if you're referencing me, I mean, I'll point out that you will have never seen a PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo on my page because I think it's rude to put those things on your page and ask people to give you money. I'm referencing raising money in memory of 2 children that were deceased. I don't know if you're being snarky or not, but like if people want to give money, they can. If they don't have to. If you look on my page, I've done a fundraiser already and sent money for all of the months that I've had a channel to those places, and I provide very detailed screen recordings of what I do and receipts for them. So I think you might have got the wrong channel because I'm not that person.
Just on your show.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Joe Tacopina.
You were teaching there too. She was just, oh my gosh. We're going to have you two on the show. If we can coordinate that, you're both such busy people. We'll try. But that is really awesome.
It's one big, thank you. It's like 2 degrees or 1 degree separation of Julie Grant, a big family. And yeah, I got to meet Joe Tacopina, who is quite an interesting character. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, I bet he was thrilled to meet you. Wow. Yeah. That is awesome. I want to come next time you all are teaching. I want to come to the class and I'll be a witness or something. I'll offer to be a witness for the kids and give them some practice. Oh my goodness. Okay, Dave, so let's start here. I want to start here with the choice prosecutors are making to try the sex abuse case before the homicide case. What do you think about that move?
You know, it's interesting because usually you'd go for the more serious one first because after all, the murder charge carries the death penalty. You could seek the death penalty on the sex charges under Florida's law, although it's a relatively new law and they haven't tested the constitutionality yet. So if this defendant's definitely...
Oh, Lindsay Lovecraft, that is so very sweet of you. Thank you for that. I'm so glad you were gifted and I'm glad you're here. You call me Claire? Okay. This is going to be interesting if these documents do get through because it is a new avenue they're trying. I've never heard anybody just say that the death penalty itself is unconstitutional. And they reference that in almost every document that I've read through so far.
Stephen Stearns wanted to challenge the death penalty as it applies to the sex abuse. I think actually he may have a claim there, but the state is not seeking the death penalty for the sexual abuse, which perhaps is why they're going first. They think they've got him dead to rights on the sexual abuse. They're not seeking the death penalty. It's going to be easier and faster. Let's get that out of the way. And then when he's found guilty of that charge, they can use that as an aggravating factor to seek the death penalty in the murder case. So I think that's why they're going first with the sexual abuse.
Okay, interesting. Thank you for that, because that was a head scratcher. When I saw them thinking, what? Why aren't they going with the homicide case first? And we know that's what he's so fixated on. He's fixated, of course he is, on potentially getting the death penalty here. Do you think the motion his defense team has filed could have some teeth when it comes to attacking the Florida law that's currently on the books?
No, that is a reach, and it shows how desperate he is to avoid the death penalty. And that could give a little bit of satisfaction to those of us who think this guy is one of the worst of the worst. And the way he made Madeline suffer, allegedly, is just so horrific. It's hard to even put your head around it. And now we see him desperately scared of getting this death penalty. So there's a little bit of schadenfreude there, I think, in what's going on. But I don't think he's going to win on any of these claims. These aggravators have been around for a long time, since 1996, and they're used continuously in capital cases. I use them many times as a prosecutor, as a state attorney. So the fact that he's now saying that after so many years of this, 28 years plus, that this is all unconstitutional, it ain't going anywhere.
Dave, thank you for that. This is helpful to know going into this as we're getting ready for trial number 1 to start just in a couple of weeks, if you can believe it. I have an interview clip I want to play for you now, Dave. This is from one of...
Do you guys think that he'll be able, like, with all of these motions, remember that there's about 50 of them, do you think that he might get through on a technicality issue and they might declare the death penalty unconstitutional in Florida? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Madeline Soto's friends, and she's talking to investigators about how Madeline was wearing baggy clothing in the recent weeks before she vanished. And we know there's been a lot of speculation around the idea that she perhaps could have been pregnant. We know mom was questioned about that. So let's take a listen to what her friend said.
Did Maddie talk to you about if she was feeling ill or sick or anything like that?
No, but I did notice that she was wearing more baggy clothes than usual. Like, usually her, I don't know if this is weird or anything. I didn't notice that. I'm a hairstyle person. But usually she'd wear hoodies that were baggy, not really that baggy. And then I noticed she started wearing more baggy clothes and more longer hoodies. I remember my friends did tell me, like, she did talk about her friends, like her stepdad. But it was only, like, good things.
Only good things. Wow. Focusing in on just that part at the end there first. Dave, what's your reaction when you hear this child relate that to the officer?
That part shook me about only good things. Well, yeah, Madeline was a child and she was sleeping.
And you can hear how much of a child that child was. I mean, you can just hear it in her voice. That is a very small child that's going to be forever traumatized by the fact that her friend was brutally murdered. I was trying to highlight some of your comments. Jennifer says, I think in prison he will suffer and have a target on his back watching over his shoulder, scared or in solitary, so put him there. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to go in general population at all, but I hope he's scared forever. Girl said most people never get put to death. It takes well over 20 years. Usually I wouldn't be for death penalty, but for child murderers, even abusers. We know he will not get away with this. He will get death penalty. I hope so. Hey, Cora. I don't know if I said hey to you, babe. I'm free to be me. Thank you for thanking, I think it was Abellis who gave you a membership. Thank you for coming in and saying thank you. I'm wondering if they're going to get through on some kind of technicality for the death penalty. I'm wondering if they're going to actually get it taken off the table.
In the same bed with Stephen Stearns. And, to think that maybe there was some sort of Stockholm syndrome there or something else. I mean, you can see that happening. It doesn't at all alleviate his culpability. In fact, it can make it worse because you see the control he had over her. This guy's in a whole lot of trouble. And he, I think, is going to be found guilty in both cases. And when he's given the death penalty, which I think is almost certain, I think extremely likely. The Florida courts are very conservative now, very pro-death penalty. So now this guy is dead to rights, metaphorically speaking.
Dave, thank you for that. Tell me, when we think about whether Madeline was pregnant, we still don't have an answer to that. I'm wondering, is this something that perhaps the state is withholding until trial? Do you think we'll get an answer to this at trial? Like, I guess maybe the best way to ask it is, could she have been, and we just don't know yet?
Florida has very broad discovery rules. The defense can get just about everything from the prosecution. This is different than in federal court where you have hide the ball. It makes it a lot harder to try cases in federal court if you're a defense lawyer. So if Madeline was pregnant at the time, I think we would know about it. The defense lawyers would know about it. It's hard to keep any secrets these days, especially with all the broad discovery rules that we have in Florida. So no, I think right now it's speculation. There's no evidence that she was, but it doesn't matter. Either he did the sexual abuse or he didn't. And the pictures on his phone are just appalling and so shocking that that's going to be enough, in my view, to lead to a quick guilty verdict.
Dave, thank you.
Hey, Beach Bum and Brenda, good to see you. Darlene said, no way. They have to try, but no way that they will get that passed. I hope not. I hope not. I hope they aren't able to get through on any kind of technicality. Brenda said Wade Wilson and servers got death penalty in Florida. I'm wondering, did their lawyers submit as many documents trying to get the death penalty taken off the table? I wonder. Like if they fought quite as hard as his attorneys are fighting for him.
Thank you. And last question for you, please, before we have to let you go. Do you think that this case will actually go to trial? Maybe I should say cases, because we've got two of them. Or do you think there's any way there could be some kind of plea agreement for one or for both?
Well, I think there could be a plea agreement if he accepts life in prison for the sexual abuse, but I don't think it's going to happen. This guy seems to be a sociopath. I saw in a recent interview with his parents that they said that Stephen Stearns lied to them throughout his whole life. Yeah, this guy is a professional liar, alleged sex abuser, and alleged murderer, and he's going to go down in a high-profile case like this. I think this is heading to trial, guilty verdict, and then the death penalty in the murder case. And I think he's going to be incarcerated until he gets the ultimate price.
Sharp analysis, as always, from you, Dave Ehrenberg. Thank you for making time for us this morning. And again, congratulations on your move into private practice. What a wonderful job you did serving the residents of Palm Beach County. I know you're missed. I know you're missed there. But fortunately for us, hopefully we get to see you a lot more now. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, Julie. If I can plug my YouTube channel, Court Authorities, where I talk about true crime cases.
You have a YouTube channel now? How did I not know?
So you guys can check him out. No room for you, buddy. I like your name. Says, hi, everyone. Been lurking here. The thought ran through my mind. Did they ever find out who paid for the public defender's fee? Yeah. I can't really talk about it because I'm not a drama channel, but it's not hard to find. I don't know. If you want to email me, you can, but I'd have to ask the person who told me if I'm allowed to mention it, because I don't want to, they say don't start nothing, there won't be nothing, and I'm not trying to start something. But yeah, I do know who paid the fee. They are affiliated with YouTube, but that's all I can say about it on an actual live stream. Really quickly, before we go for the day, I did want to pull up two documents that our lovely Gray Moon sent me, referencing the other pedo that was at Madeline's school. Again, the chorus teacher who she seemed to really love and adore ended up being a pedo. So there was another one that was mentioned not long after Stephen got arrested. I'm waiting for my email to load so I can pull it. So just give me a second. There was someone at Madeline's school that was arrested right after Stephen was arrested, not long after. And so I do have a document on that. I have two. Hopefully I can get them both to load. Right now I'm trying to get the one to load, and I will read that to you. But in case you didn't know, the secretary was accused of being a predator. Like the actual, from what I understand, he was the secretary at Madeline's school. All right, I think I'm actually finally able to pull it up. Yep, this is him. Hold on, let me make it where y'all can see it. Mercedes said, since he's such a fan of going in the back door, I hope. I couldn't read it. It moved up. Oh, since he's such a fan of going in the back door, I hope he gets DP in prison without lubricant. I think he deserves it. So this one is titled, this is from WFTV, and it is the local news channel. I want to make sure y'all can see it. Okay. And it's titled, Local Middle School Boys and Girls Club Employee Accused of Child Pornography Possession. And it says, Orlando, Florida law enforcement officials say a local middle school teacher was arrested on charges related to child pornography. Police said 36-year-old Leesburg resident Mitchell Reagan was arrested last week on a warrant that he was in possession of child sex abuse material. According to the complaint, Homeland Security investigators executed a search warrant at Regan's home and found an image, which means there was one, of child sex abuse material on his cell phone. Reagan is an employee at Hunters Creek Middle School in Orange County. And a local boys and girls club where he taught chess club and music lessons, police said. Here we got another one that's teaching kids music. Wow, that's weird. Both of the people teaching music at the school are arrested. I don't know that he was teaching music. I think he was a secretary at Hunters Creek, but isn't that interesting? Both musically inclined and music related. Cara said, no, I want him to get life without the possibility of parole or LWOP because the other prisoners will have more access to him, and he'll be terrified every second of the days. The guards might accidentally leave his cell open, and Stephen Stearns will get his backdoor action. Right, Cara? I could not agree more. Chelsea gifted a membership. That was so very sweet of you. If you were the lucky winner of that membership, please tell Chelsea thank you. I might be able to tell you who it went to. It went to Occasionally Classy. Occasionally Classy, please tell Chelsea, thank you for the membership. And Occasionally Classy, I will come pick you up on the crazy train for Speculation Station. I don't know if it played it. I clicked it twice. All right, Basil, chill, baby. I hope it played it for you guys. It didn't play on my end, but like I said, my internet's acting up. I've got too much pulled up. Okay, so let me just close out of this. We'll read this article. I think it's good enough because it's not going to let me do anything while I have the other one pulled up as well. Give me just a second. Okay, so we'll read this article. I think that'll give us a good enough idea. So it says, sorry about the noise. My husband's working on the truck. WFTV reached out to the Orange County Public School District. The district provided the statement below. Mitchell Reagan is currently on administrative leave. This is standard process when the district's Office of Professional Standards investigates allegation in cooperation with law enforcement. This person, secretary at Hunters
My love, you're muted.
Okay.
You've been muted for like 2 minutes. I can hear you now, though.
Oh, you can?
I can hear you now. Yeah, she was muted. She wasn't muted.
No, it played that so late. Like, I was reading the article and everything, and it played it so late. That's the, he was a teacher at the, and thank you for coming up here. He was a secretary at the school, and he worked at the Boys and Girls Club. You got his name, and you could see where the article was from if you guys want to finish reading that. I'm probably going to have to go. So that's probably going to be it for me today. Because as you can see, my internet's just not wanting to work.
Jennifer said you was on hold.
I was on hold. I was on hold. I want to thank y'all. Yeah, it is time for dinner. I actually got to go get to cooking. I want to thank y'all.
What are we having?
I actually fried some hamburger meat last night because I made burgers with fries last night. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know with the other pack of hamburger meat I got, we're gonna have chili. So I don't know what we're having tonight. Something with hamburger meat. My husband is
how
weird.
I just talked to who was asking how I talk to you like this. I'm in the secret society of allegedly speculating backdoor non-drama. So I can climb up in her box and make sure she's okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm gonna
She
hop
helps
down.
me out.
Enjoy your dinner, and I'm gonna go get ready for Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell me one for the Chiefs, 2 for the Eagles. Who are you going for? 3 for the halftime show.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch the halftime show, but that'll be about it for me. I did say "Fly Eagles Fly" for Miss Andrea. I think it was Andrea or Andrea who recently, unfortunately, lost her father. I know a lot of you had a lot of things going on like that, but I don't watch the Super Bowl. We're not big Super Bowl people here. Yeah, y'all will have to let me know who you're going for. Oh, Hio left. 3. A lot of you are saying 3. Abella said 4. Yeah, I don't really watch. I'll probably check out the commercials and look at the halftime show. I do like Kendrick Lamar. 4 is commercials. Okay. You only watched the Puppy Bowl? Oh, I bet that's adorable. I've seen it a couple of times. I watched a little bit of it. You're having chicken teriyaki and rice. We did do Chinese food. I think it was not last night, but the night before. I'll make it myself with the chicken and the noodles and stuff. Yeah, so anyway, I love you all. I hope you have a good day. Thank you for all of your support, all of your love, sticking with me, even though I was having so many technical issues today. It won't be like that tomorrow when we go back into the Megan Boswell trial. Queen Olive said, I'm cheering for the Chiefs if I have to pick one, but I'll be watching YouTube. Me too. Colleen said, I'll be starting seedlings during the Super Bowl. Actually, I've got to get mine started too. I grew some amazing loofah gourds last year, and I'm going to get those and a few other seeds soaking in water so I can get them started too. And I've got to film the milk jug thing so that you guys can see it and put it out on my members only, how I start my seeds and get them ready to transport. Love to Hunt said, apps that had everything need to go away, and parents need to do their best to make sure their kids aren't on those apps because evils are desperate for a child and even more desperate to hide it all. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jennifer said, go Seahawks. And I think that's good for today. So I love you all. I hope you have a good day. Enjoy your Super Bowl if you're watching that, or your halftime show, or your commercials. And I'll see y'all all tomorrow. Hope to see you here for the Megan Boswell trial. And y'all have a good day. Thank you so much for your support and your kind words and your thoughts and your prayers. Love y'all all. Stay safe. Bye.